Just a little quick one. It just came to my mind. I want to see if I can record it and see what happens. Narcs, psychopaths, and energy vampires, yeah. They don't like details when details show their effery. Like, I remember on one time when I was working with one narc and he was speaking to the supervisor on the phone, and the supervisor was going to him, trying to get information off him, blah, blah, blah. And that narc tried to get me to do some of this other, the supervisor tried to get me to do that narc's work. But then later on, when I was called into the office, because then when I refused, the supervisor narc he wrote me up. So I went into the office and I drove up there and I had all my details written down, like obviously to like say I did this and this narc had done that. But the thing about that was that even the supervisor's manager, he was a narc as well, right? So it was like, I was like, look, I've got the details. Here's my list. And he was like, I don't want to see the list. I don't want to see the list. I don't want to see the pictures. So with narcs, it's important to record things down, write it down, record things, take pictures. You might need it if the police or court gets involved. But these people, they care about details and about the specifics if it affects them. If it's something to do with money and it's to give them more money or more supply or more control. But if it's you, it's showing them, because a lot of the time it's them trying to exploit, them trying to manipulate us. So if it's you trying to show them, look, you know, we've been to dinner 5 times and I've paid for 4 times, or we have this amount of bills, we both pay, but I'm paying 85%. Here's the list. They'll be like, no, I don't want to see the list. I don't want to see how much you paid. Because these people, they're very entitled. That's the 2 things I haven't really touched on enough of, because of their childhood and their upbringing. A lot of them are very entitled and they've got no empathy. That's one thing. I haven't really spoken about the empathy thing, but we will get into that. But narcs and energy vampires, they'll treat you in a certain way. But if you were to hold up the mirror and do to them what they do to you, they will not like it. They don't respond very well when you do to them. It's important to remember that when we're dealing with these false selves, these things, they're underdeveloped children. They all live from the ego. That we remember that we don't owe these people anything. Because that's one thing they play on that kind of, you want to help or you want to treat people fairly. But this isn't heaven right now. I was just in a shop and there was the shopkeeper was dealing with the customer in front of me. He wasn't giving her any eye contact. She had to ask him for the receipt. She had to it was like she was going one, it was like there was no like 2-way exchange of I'm buying something from you, you're giving me a service, or you provide a service. It was literally just her just saying, can I have this? The guy did not care. So when I went up next, I had to stick something on a package and I hadn't done it before, so I wasn't sure where it went. So I did it and my old address was still on it. And I go to him, what about this side? And then he gave me the blank sticker. So then I put the blank sticker over my original address because it was a return. And the woman behind me was like, I was in here yesterday. You got very poor customer service. And when she finished with him, I was like, don't tell him, because a lot of these NPCs, these non-playable characters, these meat suits or narcs or energy vampires, people walking around they're not connected to their hearts, not connected to their souls. When you confront them, they're not going to think, oh, that lovely man in the shop or lovely woman in the shop told me that I was doing something this way. Let me change it. It's me. No, they're going to say, it's not me. That's their favorite. You. If you're dealing with someone that's you, chances are these people are not tapped into their souls. They're not connected to their souls. They're tapped into the dark side, dark forces. You know, like you'll be just like minding your own business, and these people will be trying to get your attention. I mean, I've had it in the gym. Sometimes they'll be looking at each other in the mirror while you're grunting or you're making noise, but because you're pushing yourself, you're in the gym, they'll be like, why is he grunting? Why is he making that noise? So they will now look at someone else, and then they will try to devalue you, like look at this person, or blah blah. Like they can't just mind their own business. These people, they really can't. Yeah, it's like we have to remind ourselves that we don't owe them nothing. We need to get back to our authentic self, and we have to remember that they're like a little child, like a little scared, insecure little child. Yeah, so we should try not to give them no response, no reaction, but we're human, you know. Sometimes we have to go down to their level and like thump them up. Like we have to be like, yo, like, what is it? But we have to try not to do that. It's hard for me. I struggle with this because sometimes I grew up in like a certain type of school where you had to match things with fire. But with these folk, they get fuel or supply from positive and negative attention. So if you give them anger, which is kind of like anger, it's like obviously you're going down to their level. You're going down like the frequency of anger. And usually below anger is fear, usually. But there's nothing to fear with these people. Like seriously, it's like you have to, when you're dealing with these people and these topics, you have to, if you grew up the way a lot of us did, what comes natural isn't always the best thing. Like we have to always think in a counterintuitive way. So when we don't want to say something, we should say something. When we want to slap someone, don't slap them. Like just ignore them. Like it's weird. Like we have to always try to be like not second guessing, but take a few seconds before you don't react. Like try to like work out, is this worth my attention? Is it worth my response? Sometimes just don't respond. Like just be like, it's all good. Like don't let them take you out of your spirit. Like whatever emotion you're feeling or energy you're feeling, decide that's what you want to feel, and don't let nobody like move you off center. That's literally the whole thing. Like you have to get used to being just like seeing things for what they are. This whole confident thing is it's a lie, man. Like I see especially in the gym, man, they're everywhere. They're looking at themselves. They're just insecure, man. Yeah, you do you, don't watch them. But yeah, this was mainly based on the fact like they don't like details, so we have to keep the details. We have to put CCTV. We have to, have things tracking things with work. How many, if you work in a factory and you make like, I don't know, like alarms, you need to be like, yo, I made 30 alarms today. How many did you make? You can't make 30 alarms and they make 5, but then you write up the report and you just put 35. So the manager thinks 2 people made 35. You got to be like, I made 30 and that person made 5. Because any way it can better them and put you back, or they can exploit you and manipulate you, they'll do it. They might say, oh, but my 5 were like the more complex type of alarms and you did the easy one. They're always looking for a cop out. Don't let them do it, man.